Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. We're jumping right into it as we always do. And this topic is on the hashtag metoo movement. Now, first, it's been going on for quite a while now, and after Oprah Winfrey's Golden Globe speech, and she stated that time is up. And then a couple of days later, Ann Curry, who has been a journalist for over 30 years, stated that she hasn't met a woman that hasn't been sexually assaulted, or whether it be verbally or physically, in her life. And we have to look into what's going on. When did it start and where did it take place? So we have to go all the way back to biblical times. Adam and Eve. From research, understanding that when Adam and Eve and that the serpent convinced them to eat from the tree of knowledge, the forbidden fruit, I'm understanding that it was actually the act of sex. Once that first orgasm was reached between the two, then it was like a drug. They wanted it, they desired it, they wanted to keep rekindling that orgasm. And if this subject is too much for minors, you might want to turn it off. Now, the instructions was to multiply and subdue the earth. Subdue the earth meant building, creating vegetation, food for life, because everything you need is on the earth. Leather comes from cow, the trees to build your home, the bricks, iron, metals, that comes from the earth. The Creator created a woman in a particular way to where men didn't need Viagra or enhancement producing drugs. It was just the way that the Creator designed the woman that would be a natural attraction so they can procreate, have children, and keep multiplying as the commandment was. But what happened over time, after Adam and Eve and that first orgasm, then sex became priority, and that was the will. The mind slowly stopped focusing on the righteous way to produce, and the reason being, it just became a thing of kind of sport and play, if you will. And so what have you now is, when Satan stepped in, he started designing clothes that would keep the man's attention on sex the way women had started dressing. And so, females, you have to understand that there is a natural attraction from a male to a female. It's natural. It's in your DNA, your genetic coding. You were created that way. That way, as I stated, men could go about his business and get aroused to produce and procreate. Now today, it's gotten so far out of hand, but it started back with the Greeks and the orgies, and they turned a beautiful thing into a dirty thing, in a sense, to where the only thing that was on the mind was to get that pleasure through sex, not to be respected of the female, in a sense. The oldest occupation in the world is prostitution. Because for that desire, men would pay money. And that created a culture. And then over time, it just gotten worse and worse and worse. Now, you remember back, let's say, 70s, 80s, a horrible act would take place upon a woman, such as rape or things of that nature. And the judge would ask, well, how was she dressed? And that became outrage. But the thing was, some men, true, can't curb that desire. And so they would see a half-naked female and would go crazy. And the only thing was on that man's mind was to have intercourse with that half-dressed female. And this is just factual. Now, after Oprah's interview, a couple of days later, they interviewed Condoleezza Rice. Now, Condoleezza Rice stated that she was kind of worried that men, with all the metoo and a lot of the allegations of sexual harassment, that men would no longer desire women or would, back away from women, which would then lead to less population or less children being born. Why is that important? Well, the reason being is since the President Donald Trump stated that he didn't want the Africans, Haitians, and El Salvadorians coming to America from these shithole countries, and he preferred Norway, meaning more European countries, is due to the fact that the white male population on the earth is dwindling. So they want to rebuild, in a sense, populate more, in a sense. But you have to understand, a lot of the actions and behavior from the white male comes from their time in the caves, where they take the woman, hit over the head with the club and drag her by the hand, have sex with her. See, the fight is between the white female and the white male. She's upset for the harsh treatment by the white male, and she's also upset with them not allowing her to vote at one period in time. She's also upset with the how she's treated as far as pay in the workplace, that she gets less than the white male. Now, black people have to realize we have a different culture in dealing with our females, because we always put the woman on top and respected the woman, from Big Mama to your mama, your grandmother. That was our staple. But following this new culture, and you can contribute it to a lot that goes on in the media, we left our moral upstanding and start following what we saw on TV. And then so you had sisters in these videos, or was in the porn films. But I remember a time where you didn't find too many black women doing porn. But now it's just what it is. The strip clubs was mostly of white women. You found very few black women that would do that, because of the honor and moral values that she had for herself. So, as it was stating, if you follow Satan, you'll go down with him. And so now the whole planet is off whack. You see it in the weather. You see it in the relationships between man and woman. You see it displaying itself in all kind of facets in life, where something's just not right. But you have to remember that the act between man and woman is natural, and that was one, when man was created, that was one of the commandments that came from the Creator, because man is supposed to reproduce himself to solve problems for the future in order to evolve, to create cures. As Brother Farrakhan stated, he said that where do you think the next cure from cancer will come from? Out the womb of a woman. She'll produce a child out of that womb to help solve problems that we face today, so we don't have to face them in the future. But Satan, again, stepped in and curved that. That's why you see at Savior Days or certain events where you see Brother Farrakhan ask the women in the Nation of Islam to show off the way that they're dressed, because it leaves no desire for the man, only with their husbands in the privacy of their own home. And then when she reveals herself, that natural attraction, they make love and babies produced for out of love, not just out of a sexual pleasure, because that will over time devalue the woman once she sleeps with so many different men and takes on that energy and spirit of all the men she slept with. It kind of diminishes who she is. It throws off the psyche, let's say, in a sense. And so this problem is a very serious problem. You have feminists, you have the LGBTQ community, which is growing, but the population, as I stated on one show earlier, if you put all the gay men and gay women on the island, over time, they cease to exist if they not reproducing themselves. Then that means that you're not bringing in knowledge into the world. Then, in time, you'll become America would be a third world country. That's why they bring some of the best minds from overseas, from India and Pakistan and Africa, the doctors. And he called Nigeria one time to lead the African huts, but a lot of doctors are from Nigeria that's in America. The brother who, the CTE for the concussions doing football, that discovered that was a Nigerian doctor. Saw the movie. Will Smith played it, which helped a lot of families and helped some of the players recoup some end money from that. So we have to look at this on a large scale. And we're going to go back and visit the beginning of this show, where the purpose was multiply, subdue the earth. Don't eat from this tree of knowledge, but doing research, and I'm finding that tree of knowledge was when they had that intercourse, when Satan stepped in, discovered the orgasm, and that became sort of like a drug, and that pleasure during the act was all they wanted, but not the love and the cultivation of a relationship. Then to wing it off and to take the mind off the Creator. That's why he gave commandments on no fornication and no adultery, because of what would happen during the outcome. So what's happening is today women are dressed provocative, and true enough, that's going to spark the natural attraction to a female, because man was created with a natural attraction to the female. That's why in Muslim law, the female was covered up to preserve her sanctity. But once these freak designers, as Brother Farrakhan stated, once these freak designers like Versace and other designers that cut the dress up so high to where you can see her hips and you see her breast. And of course, a natural man is going to look. He's going to come approach. In his mind, you saying you want sex. Now, should the male responsibility, his role in it all is to curb that desire, beat down that natural desire, attraction for a woman. It's hard. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard because that's a man's natural attraction. You know, it's like an aphrodisiac. It's gonna spark some sexual thought. And so now men is being vilified for being himself. Now there was a law, and that's why you have laws on pedophilia, which is an abomination. Laws on dating underage females or having sex with a statutory rape should be on the books. Punish them. But an adult female in her full mind knows the power of her sexuality. Some use it to get ahead in life. Some use it for money because they know that power. Some mothers would tell them, use what you got, or they'd say that you a piss poor female if you have an empty purse. Meaning you got these hips and these breasts that men would pay for, or what are you doing broke? And that set off a culture of women using men or using sex to retrieve money from men. You know, it's been going on a long time. And so, we at the point to where we understand that there needs to be some changes made, and then there needs to be some value in marriage, and it needs to be some self-respect for the male and the female. It's saying that females, if you value yourself, you're not going to come out the house dressed any kind of way, showing all of who you are, because in the mind of a man is you looking for that attention. You want somebody to look at your body because you showing it to the world. Of course, naturally, a man is going to look. And if he looks and say something, that's sexual harassment. I'm taking you to court. And he's like, "What? You out here half naked? What do you think? I'm gonna look or say something?" You know, in a sense, but it's a thin line because, true enough, some are trying to dress like their favorite celebrities, and they say, "Well, hey, this is how so and so dress in these videos and in these movies. I'm trying to get the same attention she's getting from men, but I want the attention, but that doesn't mean that I want to have sex with you." So you have to understand, that is true, but you have to understand that the nature in which a man was created was to see a woman naked and get aroused, to have sex or make love, to produce a child. That's why you wouldn't need the Viagra or male enhancement drugs or whatever to get you going. It was just seeing the shape of a female, and that's all it took. No, that's embedded. That's how can I say that's in the code. That's in the male's nature, in all males' nature. Whether you human, in the animal kingdom, whatever, the rule was multiply to keep your generation and your lineage going. You know, all males, as human or animal kingdom, are attracted to their counterpart, the female. You know, you know. So if you outside spelling sex, meaning looking half naked in a sense, showing your full figured shape. Come on, men gonna look. If you go to the club and you dressed in a way, you're not gonna be able to walk from the door to the bar without somebody putting on you or propositioning you. Because you unwrap the package, they seeing everything. But I don't blame it on the female or the male. I blame it on the wicked scientists who produce these movies and make some of these females dress that way in order to sell more products. You all heard the saying, sex sells. Hell, no matter what the commercial can be, you put a woman in a bikini, they know that the price somebody's gonna buy. Your percentage is going up. You're gonna make some money. That's the culture. So we paying for that culture today. People are outraged. Now you have men saying, "Hey, never mind. The trouble is too much." But what's the outcome of that? It's going to weaken somebody's population because children is not being born, on top of all the drug use, on top of the homosexual community, meaning that a man and a man can't produce a child, and two women can't produce a child. So that's, or it could be the fact that population control, and we falling for it. That could be the hidden hand behind the scene. Let's create all of this through the media to curb the population. Maybe they send us too many people on the planet. But I guess I'm saying that we have to get back to the natural order of things and do things that was instructed by the all-wise creator, because he created things in a way in which he knew what was best for you and what's best for his creation. But you had an opposing force who said, no, let's do it this way, and I'll have all the material things, money, gold, wealth, or whatever, to sway you to follow his direction. And now you're on a course, and you might not see it, or maybe some do see it, that you're headed for self-destruction, like the song say. Meaning you're on the path, you walking down that path of self-destruction, while what we call Satan is behind the scene laughing. When you didn't even recognize the God or the inner God within self, or the true temple of God, which is man and woman. So we watching how this thing plays out, but over the last months, every day it's been coming out, and it should be, especially for those men who overstep the boundaries and make a woman feel uncomfortable in their presence, and make her work environment a living hell as she's trying to make money and provide for her family, because men who knows that a woman is married shouldn't even proposition them for sex. Now you creating a off balance. You creating a hostile environment. Now you're going into another sin, adultery. And then you have to pay for the karma of that. So the bottom line is, all of humanity, especially in America, has to get back to God, the originator, the universal God, under the universal laws that govern man. That's the only way out of this thing. We left God behind. We left the universal God behind. We want to do as thy wilt. And you see how that's playing out. The nature is off balance. The universe is off balance because of the energy of the wicked thoughts of man that's traveling high up into what they call the heavens. And it's raining back down on us what we thought or what man has. His thoughts is raining back down upon him, and we not liking what we seeing. Suffering is taking place due to wicked thoughts. So study to show thyself approved. Get you some knowledge. Understand the natural attraction between man and female and the purpose of it, so you can make sure you're on the right path. Are you doing things in accordance with how it's supposed to have been done and how it was done from the beginning? Then you'll understand why women would dress a certain way in older times, earlier times, why they kept themselves covered and only revealed themselves to their mates, and why it was better to wait to have sex until you were married and not chase that orgasm as a high, as a drug, or lose your virtue for an orgasm high. And that's what's been, and that's what happened. And until it's present day, we still chasing the orgasm, but not out of a wedding or not out of marriage, just from random people who you don't court or you don't know. You just, hey, how you doing? Jump in the bed, let's get this orgasm. Give me the money, and I'm gone. And now we seeing the results of that, because you got broken homes, you got lonely females, you got crime running rapid in the family, you got single parent households, you got neglected children, you got foster cares filled with children, and but it's all up to mankind, womankind, to put things back in place in its proper perspective. Verbal Pick Radio, we're out.